Hello, good afternoon, everyone. We have discussed today, and you've heard already about how to build your startup, how to fundraise, how to work with the VCs. What we will talk now is about the exit and how to realize the exit and how to make your startup and all the hard work you've put into it into a success. How to turn it into a success. And I'm very pleased to have Andrius Šlimas, who is a co-founder and CEO of Oberlo, which is one of the most successful, if not the most successful startup in Lithuania, a sort of a Lithuanian Skype, if you wish, or Lithuanian answer to Estonian Skype, if there were Estonians involved, not Swedish. Well, anyway, Andrius, welcome to our Fireside chat.
Great to be here.
And thanks for coming. I don't know if all of you know, but I will lay out the facts about Andrius first before we start a discussion. Well, first of all, Andrius is a senior management at Shopify, a Canadian listed company at the moment. And Andrius, you sold your company after only 1.5 years after you established it, right?
Well, yeah. That's correct.
Approximately. And Andrius sold it together with co-founders and employees and everyone who got their shares vested for many millions of dollars. That's how discreet the lawyers are. Can't tell the numbers. Anyway, so we have the best exit, Lithuanian exit so far, I would understand.
Well, I think, so first of all, I think we definitely not one of the most successful or the most successful. There are, I mean, it just happened that it was, a case which, the press wrote. But I think there are a lot of $100 million of companies or startups, worth of startups in the building, and I would assume that in the next 3-5 years we will see like really proper exits, and we are anything. We cannot compare it to $1 billion exits. Okay. So I think it was a nice event, a nice validation that these things are happening in our market, that foreign investors are interested, foreign acquirers are interested. They don't see any problem. They're excited about entering the market, buying companies. So I think I think there are way more interesting companies coming our way or here in Lithuania. So that's right. One thing, but nonetheless, yes, we were 11 months old when Shopify came to us and we started the discussion, which lasted for half a year. But yeah, it was we were a fairly young company, 11 months old when they came.
So I forgot to tell another fact about Andrius. He is a very modest person as well. He wouldn't agree with me that it's a most successful startup at the moment. All others being sort of a valuation exercise at the moment on the books, right? Okay, good. Anyway, Andrius, can we go back to the very beginnings before we talk about this big success and would you remember your first venture, because I think that sort of relates more to what we are talking about here, encouraging everyone to not give up at the very beginning, even if you fail once, twice, or 10 times. So can you tell about your first venture, how it went?
I mean, my sort of
or several ventures that you've had.
Yeah, so I was 19 years old. I decided to do a second-hand bookstore online, and I got, I think, probably up to 20 orders, and I was delivering them by trolley bus myself. So that was my first introduction to e-commerce and business, and I was very keen. And then afterwards, there were a lot of different solutions. There were, again,
It was a profitable business?
I consider it profitable because when you sell a book for 3 litas, which is €1, and then you bought it for 2 litas, and you don't really disregard the fact that you spent 2 hours in public transportation delivering the book, it was a profitable business.
Any successful exits there?
Well, no. But one of the e-commerce business that we sold that we can call it an exit. We got, I think, maybe 6,000 litas, or 2,000 euros, and the sofa, because there was a furniture company which bought the e-commerce business. They paid us, I think, 6,000 litas and the sofa.
Right. So you started with the exits early
exits
on,
right away, like exit on the exit.
Right. Okay. But you had other ventures as well, international business. Tell us about your first international ventures.
I think the first, really successful business was our e-commerce. Well, this was probably number 6 or 7 e-commerce business, but that was truly global. So we started selling cross-border, and we built the company. We made millions of dollars in sales in the first year, and then we sold the company. So that was, I think, the real profitable business and the real exit, which was more tangible than sofa and 2,000 euros, right? So that was our first sort of experience with selling the company. Yeah.
Okay. And so when have you decided to start Oberlo, or what was the start of Oberlo?
Yeah. So again, we were doing a lot of stuff, and this e-commerce business, which was successful, it was based on drop shipping, and so we sort of created this model. It did exist, somewhere, somehow, but we created this, designed it for ourselves. We created software to optimize it. And then after we sold the e-commerce business, we had the know-how and the software, and then we thought, okay, we just need to wrap it, package it, and start selling it as a software. And that worked. And I think, again, the important piece is that we did understand the market. We did understand the problem, and how to solve it. And so that's how it started. But again, there were a lot of other solutions that we had, and we launched at the same time. And
okay, so you launched several ventures at the same time in parallel.
Yeah, several solutions. Actually, it's interesting because the other solutions we also sold the other solutions to another Lithuanian company, that was I think a decent transaction as well. In the context of Oberlo, we didn't really talk about it, but we launched 4 solutions for e-commerce at the same time. The thing is that we were doing one other thing before that, and then we thought, we are sort of running out of the money that we allocated for this project. We have 6 weeks of money in the bank account. Let's just do a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And so in I think 3-4 weeks time, we created 4 applications for e-commerce, and one was Oberlo. The other 3 were also fairly successful, and by now we sold all of them.
Right. So you ran 4 ventures at the same time, and then we're looking which one is more successful and goes first. And
that was actually the other one was picking up, and we thought, okay, this is our, this is going to be our winner. This is what we're going to stick with. And at some point in time, we were running. We had an e-commerce startup, so we wanted to build an e-commerce platform that was sort of running. Then we had these 4 solutions. Then we still had the software development agency. I think my brother was still running a marketing agency. So it was like a cloud of different activities, but we were sort of looking what is picking up, and then when Oberlo picked up, it was clear that this is the one, and we have to pursue that.
So can you tell us just quickly what is Oberlo? What was that successful?
Right. So to simplify, when you start your own business, you have to have enough cash or capital, and you have to find suppliers, and you have to meet them, and you have to sign the contract, and you have to pay them, and you have to wait for the products to arrive, and you have to store these products. What we do, we do everything, all of that in the background. So you come in, you say, I want to start selling glasses, and then we give you a catalog of glasses. You say this, this, this. You don't pay for anything. You don't store anything. You don't ship anything to yourself. Whenever you receive an order, you pay us for one order, and we ship it to your customer. So it's super lean. You don't need to worry about anything. It's just like the whole supply chain happens somewhere in the cloud.
And you sell it not in your name, but in your client's name.
Yeah. So you would be selling glasses to your customer, and whenever a customer pays you, you pay us, and then the same day we ship the product. So they don't see us, they see you, and you don't need to pay anyone in advance. You can have thousands of products.
Cool. Cool. Okay. And so you saw this new venture that it was the right solution and it picked up. How fast was the growth?
The growth was massive. I mean, we couldn't keep up with the growth. That was a nice problem to have, but I mean, our problem was how can we build the team as fast as we were growing? How can we build or scale our marketing channel? So I think the growth was pretty tremendous. And I mean, relating to or connecting this to the Shopify acquisition, we were operating in their ecosystem. So they saw all that growth. It was like they had access to all of that data. The same with Alibaba. You know, Alibaba did see the volumes that we were sending them. So I think it was, you know, just a matter of time when one of them would show up. Okay.
Right, but when you say massive growth, what is massive? Is it 10%? Is it 11%?
No, it was, I think, I mean, hundreds of percent every month. I mean, we were doubling, tripling. Obviously, you know, with time, it somehow...
it plateaued, right? Or
didn't plateau, but it got more sensible. But initially, it was, you know, doubling, tripling every month.
Wow.
And also in terms of, you know, in terms of revenue, that was, I think, a big important piece there.
Okay. Well, and so how do you, when you look back, why do you think Oberlo was so successful? What was the key success factor?
Gosh,
one or maybe three?
Yeah. This one is a tough one. I think being at the right time, in the right place, attacking the right opportunity, making, you know, a couple of good decisions. But I think, you know, just it all boils down to just paying a lot of attention to the market and you know, being involved in something, and then these opportunities are coming. So since we started Oberlo, you know, and we are in the market, and then there are just crazy amounts of things that we are now seeing because we are like deep inside it, and you know, we're looking into new things. So I think we were in e-commerce business. We were looking what's happening. We didn't know, you know, we were using Shopify, all the other solutions, and we could feel the market. And then we thought, and then we saw the drop shipping coming, and you know, that was just a wave to ride or to actually, you know, make happen.
Okay. And did any investors notice those trends as well? And did you have any investors?
So investors did notice, and I think also good thing to know is that they have their own software, which is monitoring a lot of stuff that's happening with these startups, and so they know if you're hiring a lot, or if your web traffic is increasing, or if your I don't know, marketing spend is increasing, and all of these things, or web mentions someone writing about you. If all of these things increases, their software grasps that, and then they say, okay, this is a new company which is growing. And then since we started seeing the growth, it was a lot of outreaches coming from the investors. So I think that's also a good idea of, or good thing to know, that if you're successful, they will come to you. So I think it's more important to, as much as possible, focus on building something that solves the problem, that becomes used by someone, and then that will lead to all the other stuff. Like,
all right. So you're saying that the startups and entrepreneurs, if they have a good product and high growth, that they should focus on that growth and product, and the investors will come themselves. You don't have to go and do pitches.
I think obviously, sometimes you have the cost which exceeds your revenue, and then you have the runway, and then you have to think about the fundraising and so on. But I mean, in general, these investors are looking for their opportunities, and for their opportunities are successful startups, and they know what's happening, and they're keeping an eye. They're here around us, talking and listening to. So, if you're successful, believe me, people will come, and yeah, that wouldn't be a problem.
So what happened? I mean, you tripling your I know size every month. So do people really cold call you and say, here, do you need my money? And
Yeah, so on the investment sides, I mean, yeah, it's not that like the most, like the partners are calling you. I think they get the triggers on their systems, and then probably associates or some people working there, they give you a call, and at some point we sort of disengage. But again, I think what happens apart, and talking about the exit, what happens apart the investment offers, if you're successful, you're gonna be getting a lot of, like you'll be seeing a lot of interest of acquiring the company. They will be talking. A lot of that will be not successful. A lot of big companies are looking into 10, 20, 30 acquisition targets at the same time. So when we first saw that coming, we got so excited. We think like, oh man, like this is, they're coming here. Like there's going to be a massive exit. And in reality, half of them are not serious. Half of them wouldn't, you wouldn't fit their profile. But Shopify was super serious, and then they noticed the traction, and then they flew in from Canada saying, hey, our VP of growth wants to come in and wants to talk with you. And instantly that, like, vice presidents that, of a public companies don't fly just to say hi to Lithuania, right? So I think it was fairly clear where it was going from the day one, and then it took 6 months from there. Yeah.
Right, and so I'm coming back to the venture capital funds. Have you had a thought? Is it better to take the money from venture capital fund, grow the company further, and then maybe, I know, come to a larger exit? Or
yeah, I think so. My own philosophy is that you have to be pushing, so I'm more tending to that. But I think an important piece is to be very strategic. So what usually happens is that you go out and raise money for no particular reason. You do that because others are doing that, because you think it will help, it will solve problems, and that doesn't solve problems. That's the liability that you have. So you have to be very strategic who you choose, like what's the company, what are their expertise, who are the partners that you're going to be working, what are the conditions that you're joining, like will they give you time, who's going to be working with you, what are the, all the money. And then if you're very strategic in how you set it up, then I think by all means you have to do that. But I think what's more often happening is that you raise money just for the sake of raising money, and then you are not ready to grow or to use that money effectively, then the VC starts pushing you to do something, and then like it all goes south. So I think that is a little bit of a nuance, but generally, yes.
And so you think the startups and entrepreneurs, when starting when creating a startup, should they think about the exit strategy immediately? I mean, do I want to grow a company, to 10, 20, 30 million size, and then, I don't know, some strategic investor, Google, would buy it because it's on the level of, a country manager to approve an acquisition of 30 million, or do I want an IPO or grow a unicorn?
Yeah, so I think it's important. Unfortunately, I think we're running out of time. But
Are we?
But an important piece is that you do have to have a strategy, even though you're not building a company for selling. But you have to have a strategy, because if you don't and you raise money, that can really, play against you. So if you're thinking about IPO, then raising massive amounts of money and sustaining the growth is important. If you're looking at the 97% of the exits being under 30 million, then you have to be very careful. Like if you're looking for the exit, at the exit of like 30 million, then if you raise above 10 million, that's, you're in a pretty dangerous situation of not getting anything. So I think it's just important to know your exit strategy, know who could be your potential acquirers and why would they buy you. And with that, of course, you always have optionality, but it's just important that you are strategic in the amounts that you're raising. Who are you raising from, and how do you structure everything so it goes, the right path?
Great. And two last questions, because now I understand that we're running out of time. Was it a good deal that you did? I mean, the exit to sell the company?
It was, I think, absolutely good deal. Again, we were 11 months old when they came in and presented us an offer. So that was, again, we sold Oberlo for $15 million for a year-old company. That was a lucrative, good deal. Plus, we joined, the world-class startup, one of the most successful in the world, being the size of now eBay, and getting inside access to the knowledge and getting background to build stuff. So it's a tremendous growth opportunity, a way to lock in your, financial gains. But I think at the same time we were on the very right path. We wanted to continue. So if that happened a year later, we probably would have been a bit more happy. But anyways, it definitely was worth it.
Okay. And then the last question to this fantastic audience: what would be your sort of advice to the ones who are looking for an exit or working towards the exit? What would be your advice to them how to achieve this good exit?
Yeah. So I think one is you must have strong advisors, if that is already happening, right? So we had our advisors, and I think probably our exit amount would be, 2-3 times smaller, if not them. They, were holding our hand through the whole process, preparing us what to say, what not to say, how to structure the meetings and everything. We had zero understanding of the tactics that are being used there. So one is really, if you're in these kind of conversations, everything you say will be used against you. So you have to be super, super careful when you open your mouth and like what you say and the excitement that you show and everything. So that is one. Second is like if you're working for an exit, like people can feel desperation. That is called a cheap deal. We at Shopify see these cheap deals coming our way. People are writing, presenting their company, and exactly that they're looking for an acquisition, and that this could be cheap. So just don't be desperate looking for that. If you are right, they will come, and I know, again, I'm confident there will be a lot of exits in Lithuania, and yeah.
Great, thank you. Big applause to Andrius, Oberlo. Thank you.
Thank you.